Hi, welcome to Cloud and Clear. I'm Adam Massey. I'm Vice President of ISV and Marketplace Sales here at Sada. And I'm really excited to welcome Adam Famularo to Cloud and Clear today. Adam is the CEO at WorkFusion, and WorkFusion is on an incredible cloud journey with Google Cloud, with Sada. We're excited to be a part of that journey. Adam, welcome so much.
Oh, thanks for having me, Adam. I appreciate it. Got the Adam Adams show today.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep that. I guess we either simplify that for the audience or make it confusing. Well, hopefully the former, not the latter. Um, yeah, so I'm so excited to have you guys join. You announced a really big Google Cloud partnership about a month ago, which SADA is thrilled to be a part of and supporting. We want to today dig into a lot about WorkFusion, your cloud journey, really help people understand the power of your platform, but also like really understand how you can achieve those multipliers by partnering with Google Cloud supported by SADA. Before we get into all that, let's level set a little bit. I'd love to introduce you formally. Like, tell us a little bit about you and your journey to WorkFusion, your professional background. Help us understand how you got here.
Sure. Look, I've been in the software industry for well over 24 years now. My last company, so just work backwards, was Irwin, that I co-founded with a good friend of mine. That we built up around Irwin was data governance focused, where we were solving a big problem around the amount of data that was being built and developed in the industry, and how do you manage it and govern it. So that was the big problem that we were solving. That we built that business up to a certain point where Quest Software came calling, and we ultimately sold back in 2020. Before that, I ran a series of go-to-market roles as well as GM roles at CA Technologies, a large enterprise software company, and also ran global channels at Verizon for a small stint as well. So, very diversified career over my term.
Yeah, I love that combination. It's something we share of like balancing general management and revenue leadership with channel and alliances. It's a really cool combination, and that's one of the things I love about partnering with you guys. And in my role is the ability to straddle the line of like driving growth together, but leveraging the multipliers we get from our partnership. So amazing background.
Yeah, so Adam, partnerships have always been the heart of who I've been as an individual. From very early on in my software career, I was building and developing channel partners, understanding kind of how we can take the best of our software, manage it with their strengths, and create new go-to-market synergies. I've always found that to be a fascinating form of building and developing companies together. And I did that for many years at CA. I did it through my career at Verizon, and even as the CEO of Irwin, channel partnerships was the core of everything that we did as a business. And now you will see me carry that same thing over to WorkFusion.
Well, that's incredible. I could not agree more. Well, let's use that as a good segue to talk about WorkFusion. So, what brought you to WorkFusion, and tell us a little bit. I mean, as CEO, you're steering the ship, but tell us more about what your role entails, and a little bit about what brought you there.
Yeah. So look, the WorkFusion opportunity came calling as I was kind of enjoying some family time over the summer. And it wound up being, as I met with the investors, I met with some of the key employees, and then I met with some of the customers. The product and technology was just light years ahead of anybody else in the marketplace. They really needed help around things like go to market and packaging and how the products are being used in the marketplace, which are all strengths of kind of who I am as a leader. So for me, it was a nice fit for the next stage of my career, and I was able to kind of hit the ground running in September, and it's been nonstop since. But we're on a nice journey. In regards to the role, look, as a CEO, your first job is to really set a vision for the company. Where do you want to take the company over the next 3, 4, 5 years? After that, it's about assimilating a team behind it that can go out there and execute upon that strategy and approach. And then from there, it's most importantly working with our customers and our partners to making sure that they're getting the most amount of value from our software and services that we're offering into the marketplace.
Yeah, that's great. So, like, you mentioned that, when you first had those initial meetings and you saw the technology, it blew you away. Tell us more about that. So, like, what is WorkFusion? What problems are you solving for your customers?
Great question. So WorkFusion is a AI ML platform that enables our customers to build and develop digital workers to solve customer needs around remedial work that can be done from reading documents to understanding customer IDs to working on things like KYC, know your customer within financial services companies. Um, we take on work and we build, develop software digital workers that can do work on behalf of employees. And then ultimately, they're integrated with your current employees to be able to tackle the work together.
That's amazing. Yeah, and I mean, it's so interesting when you see a technology like that where you can just be a force multiplier literally for your customer, especially in a day and age where we're all constrained. Like every company I've talked to in the last year is stretched thin, overwhelmed, and I think as a CEO and a leader, right? If we can match our high value people to high value, high return tasks, that's what it's all about. But the reality is, there's just a lot of things out there that aren't yet automated that really need to be. So that's incredible. The space you're in is exploding, right? So automation as a space, there's clearly a massive market opportunity. There's a lot of different approaches and technologies, coming to market around automation. What sets WorkFusion apart from maybe some of the others in your space? How do you guys differentiate?
So the way that we do automation is we focus on holistic work. So we look at the full size job spec that a person would have to do, and we automate that whole entire job function. We use machine learning technology and something called human in the loop to pull in, the humans in the workforce to help solve bigger challenges where the technology might get stuck. At the end of the day, we're trying to automate full scale work. Um, so that is the biggest competitive differentiation for us in the marketplace. And what we found with what we've just recently done is we've packaged up these digital workers where we have six of them today that do specific job roles within companies. So you could view it as hiring a digital worker to do things like transaction screening, adverse media, reading documents and document management, to email triage. So our digital workers can do those jobs on behalf of existing workers or workers that we are having a hard time trying to hire, or setting ourselves up for future expansion where we want to train people to do more complex work and bring in the software automation to take on those remedial jobs.
That is amazing too. That's another big trend that I don't see a lot of technology providers addressing, right? Is like how do we upskill and move our workers up, to an upskilled level so that you can automate the more remedial stuff and give your employees a learning path to, higher value at, right? I also love your guys' vision on like human in the loop because I think that's one of the things that gives customer pause sometimes is I'm going to go enable a bunch of bots. They're going to go out, and as soon as like the form changes on this thing they're screen scraping or whatever, like the whole system breaks. And so incorporating your knowledge workers into an automated process really sort of future proofs that whole end to end automation. It's really cool.
That's right. And in times where there's a great resignation going on, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but there's a possible impending recession, all of those things, you need to make sure that you recession proof your business by bringing in automation. And why not do it at a point of replacing full work? And that's where we come in. And I know we're going to get to it later, but the notion of where we're going with Google, and thanks to your help, is finding a way to create that time to value faster. So enabling customers to get up and running with these digital workers in days instead of months.
Yeah, no, I mean we can go there now actually because I think it's a really relevant discussion thread. Like, so you guys have a very enterprise grade, cloud native platform. The cloud provider you pick is a very strategic decision. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that journey with Google Cloud, that, how that what made you pick Google as a cloud provider, and how does that play into a strategic point of leverage for WorkFusion?
Yeah. First and foremost, the Google Cloud team has been absolutely a fantastic partner. It's always interesting when you're building and developing partnerships. You really need the both sides to really come to the table and provide people and resources and be willing to work through challenges and really set us both up to be successful. And they have worked in that true spirit from the beginning to where we are right now. Um, I, I'd be lying to say I just went out and chose Google as that they were the first one that we saw and we just dove right in. But actually, what happened was we met with a bunch of our customers and we saw the trend that was going on in financial services was a lot of companies were betting on Google. They were buying into Google Cloud. They were putting money behind their purchases. They were setting up some strategic partnerships. Google's been very aggressive there. And now for us, we of course follow the trend of our customers. So if our customers are going there, it made sense that we did the same thing. And what it allows us to do is put ourselves into this fully scalable, flexible cloud environment that our customers have already adopted. Now we're in the Google Cloud Marketplace thanks to the help of Sada. And any Google Cloud customer can pull down our digital workers and start getting value out of them immediately. So that's really the excitement here between bringing two to then three companies together to solve big problems.
Does security come into play? Like, as you were interviewing your customers, I'm sure it does, especially industries like financial services. But Google's made some huge moves recently in the area of security. I would assume that's part of your value proposition as well.
Well, you're talking about financial services companies, right? So security is front and center for them. And for us, if not to say we can't go out and build with another cloud provider, but when you already have Google in there with the security that they've invested into their cloud platform, it makes a heck of a lot of sense to just ride the backs of their platform. We have security inherently built into our software. We've been working with financial services companies for almost 10 years now. So we have what I would like to deem as a gold standard in security software built into our product. And now we're running on top of Google Cloud. That's also at that same level. So, I know our financial services customers are getting the best in class platform to go along with our digital workers.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that angle too, right? Because I mean, what you're doing is you're shortening time to value for your customers, and by having that inherent focus on enterprise grade capabilities, security cloud built into your product, and also built on top of GCP, it's a super easy deployment for your customers. Like you just take a lot of those components and package it up for the customer. So that's great. And as you mentioned with marketplace, I mean that's a core part of my job. I'm real bullish on that as a way to simplify procurement and implementation for our customers. It's just so streamlined.
Yeah, and Google has done such a good job selling into the financial services companies and setting up the Google Cloud. Now it's all about just teaching and enabling customers that they can actually go onto their Google Marketplace and just pull down our Tara or Evelyn, our digital workers, and start using them today for things like sanction screening.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
that's what it's all about.
Well, we're excited to be a part of that. So, a big part of what I'm doing is working with our customers to, educate them on that, right? That as they're making, you know, big cloud decisions with GCP and looking at workloads to modernize and how to move workloads to GCP, highlighting partners like WorkFusion and showing them how easy it is to basically deploy that on top of their GCP instance in a real fast, effective way. So Sada was excited to be part of this partnership, part of the journey with you, Adam. Maybe, like I'd love to learn more. I mean, so I've been at Sada about a month. So this is my first cloud and clear hosting. And I wasn't involved in some of the early phases of the partnership. Maybe you can share more about how you became involved with Sada and like the role we're playing in this partnership, if you don't mind.
Yes, as I said, when you're building and developing partnerships, right, you're always working on, bringing together two businesses, and with that, always has challenges. So when we ran into one challenge, which was how do we take these digital workers that we built and developed in a cloud-based environment, but now get it up and running in Google Cloud and in Google Cloud's marketplace? Google actually jumped in and said, "Have you guys heard of Sada?" And you guys at that point, I think we were a three-time number one partner for Google Cloud. And and brought you guys into the mix. And then when we got you going with our engineering team, we found that, we were able to get up and running in a matter of days versus months. So Sada played a nice integral role in our time to value for our customers. So bringing together our software with Google Cloud and then bringing to market our technologies.
Yeah, no, we appreciate the partnership, and it's one of those examples where it just feels like a win-win-win. We're able to help our customers adopt a winning solution like WorkFusion in a way that solves a lot of critical problems in a way that's so complementary and part of most of their cloud journey. So, one of the things that we love to do, it's core to our business, is helping customers modernize and transform with the cloud. And yeah, a lot of times that starts with infrastructure. But once the infrastructure piece is in place, they start looking to business problems and business applications they can go solve. And so we're thrilled to be able to work with you in that regard. You're also a part of our SaaS Alliance program, which is a program I love because it's very, very partner centric. We talked a lot today about, both of our backgrounds and partnerships and building out, multipliers there. But I love the SaaS Alliance program because it's aimed to do just that. It's about how do we partner with you, WorkFusion, to bring you to market with our customers and our professional services and our go to market capabilities to create, great outcomes for our customers. Like, was that a big part of your decision? Tell me a little bit about like what that went as you were making your decision, how much that played into it, and what your thoughts are on it.
Yeah, that to me that was a big upside to the partnership. Look, at the end of the day, we're all about scale. The only way that we can scale our business is by bringing in more strategic partners that can help us bring our software to more customers, and that's what we're hoping that the Sada SaaS partnership can help us with. Right. So at the end of the day, we want more exposure to our software. Right. We're on the Google Cloud platform now with the help of Sada. Hopefully we will spread out into the marketplace, much further and wider than we can on our own.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. That's our goal is, you know, basically scream from the rooftops about how we can help our customers solve more problems with WorkFusion. And I think the cool thing is, as an automation platform, problem solving, there's so many things that we can help them do when it comes to, leveraging AI and ML to automate remedial things that everybody's burdened by. Um, Yeah, and so I think overall, like with anything you'd also share, I think just to indulge our listeners on what it's like working with Sada from like you know technical onboarding, marketplace, and go to market.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't speak to the day to day because I'm not the one rolling up my sleeves. I'll leave that to Oz, who runs strategy, and Peter, who's our CTO. But what I can tell you is the feedback from our teams has been terrific. So our teams have been working with yours, day to day to get each one of our digital workers up into the Google Cloud platform. We already have the first one that went live a couple of weeks ago, and we have the next 4 or 5 that are lined up to go right after this. And like I said before, we couldn't do it as quickly as we're doing it right now without you and your team. So for that, I thank everybody over at SATA for helping to keep us on point and keep us focused. And at the end of the day, our customers are just going to get more value out of our software being on this platform in a quicker period of time.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, so we obviously appreciate the partnership so much. We're bullish on the upside we can go drive together. As we start to kind of wrap this up here, when I think about driving the relationship, our sort of our relationship between SADA, WorkFusion, and Google Cloud in 2022 and beyond, I think we just are seeing so much growth together in terms of customers adopting cloud, trying to adopt cloud-centric solutions that also, work within their, financial commits they've made with the platform. There's just a lot of opportunity. So, any final comments from your side? I mean, I think the customer value, the time to value we can drive together is incredible, and we're really bullish on the growth.
Yeah, Adam, you're right on point. I mean, look, I've been in this space for so long and working with financial services companies forever. They've been the last to adopt cloud. To be fair, they still to this day, push back on cloud adoption. I really truly believe that the Google Cloud being set up within these companies' environments is going to help adoption at much faster rates. And I don't think that there's any other way for us to drive more cloud adoption, to drive our software into customers' hands in a more easy fashion where they can get superior value from our software than by using Sada on the Google Cloud platform and then leveraging WorkFusions digital workers. So that combination together is going to create so much value for the financial services companies that they should be able to save tens of millions of dollars and ultimately get a ton of value out of our software and our market model.
That's fantastic. We couldn't agree more. So, Adam, I just want to thank you so much for joining us on Cloud and Clear, for joining me for my first round here hosting. I hope it's been good. I have to say, if you guys are out there listening to this, go check out WorkFusion. They're available on the Google Cloud Marketplace. You can contact any SADA, frontline person rep about WorkFusion, and we'll get you connected. You can see them as part of our SaaS Alliance program. But let's get in contact and talk more about how you can leverage them and their ML powered automation platform to solve a whole wide array of problems in many industries. So, Adam, thank you so much, and look forward to working with you in the field.
Adam, thanks again for the partnership. I wish you the best of luck in your new role, and we'll keep it up. I'm looking forward to getting out there and executing well together. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to Cloud and Clear. Check the show notes for links to this week's topics, and don't forget to connect with us on Twitter @Cloud and Clear and our website, sada.com. Be sure to rate and review the show on your favorite podcast app.